so kindly give us the...
I would be happy to.
The old sound test.
The oldie-fashioned sound test.
It says 5,000 : content not available.
Give it a couple of seconds. I don't know why it's been doing that.
It's because I'm eating ribs and they don't want to offend the vegetarians. Delicious, delicious ribs.
We're going.
Cool. And you can hear everybody?
I can hear.
All right.
Testing. 1, 2.
Test.
My name is Andy, and that there is what... Actually, no, your name's Andy. That doesn't work so well when you're actually there.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't fool them.
So last session, after defeating the Red Dragon and returning back into the hidden library, you regrouped with the fish woman.
Yeah, I forget her name.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think I have it. I probably have it written down somewhere. Let me look.
Okay. I'll let you do it since I don't want to go for my notes.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Lazy CM is lazy. Wait, I just have it right here. Nope, that's the song game.
Was it Delirious?
It did start with a D. Yeah, it was hilarious.
Ah, sweet. My notes paid off.
Okay, cool. So Delirious takes you back to the pool at the entrance of the lake, and as you're kind of reaching to that point, Cardiff behind you kind of in his typical old man fashion, but as you see as he walks towards the water, his form starts to kind of become translucent and blue, as it typically does when time shenanigans happen. And he says, I got what I needed. I'll see you the next time around. And he kind of just fades away. But instead of just leaving nothing in his place, he seems to leave his cloak. It kind of falls to the ground. And lays there on the ground. Yeah.
I'm gonna step on it like Darth Vader on Obi-Wan Kenobi's. Like I'm looking for him.
Pick it up. There's a book or something in there.
Yeah, I pick it up afterwards.
Doesn't appear to be anything of interest to take out of it. It's just the cloak itself. But you, Malik, recognize that when you pick up the cloak, the interior lining of this cloak, it wasn't his normal, regular Chronomancer's cloak. It was a cloak that he was kind of wearing underneath in his robes. You see that it has kind of like a darkish, kind of bluish green color to it. But when you look at the interior, you see that it's invertible. You can reverse it. But it is completely black on the other side. And the hood style seems to be very similar to the hoods and robes that the entities would wear.
Does it still smell like Cardiff?
A bit. Yeah,
like an old person smell?
Old person smell. It has an old person smell plus kind of a strange peaches scent. But you also, there's a strange sense of ozone to it as well. It kind of like, it feels like an aerosol, a peach flavored or peach scented like aerosol.
All right, we'll stuff it in our pack and keep it for later. He may want it back.
Okay.
Plus, it'll just remind us of him when when we feel lonely. We can get it out and talk to it.
But what can we have Zell sort of inspect it to see if there's any magical properties that we might be able to use?
Oh, sure.
Doesn't appear to be anything magical about it.
Doesn't even let me roll for it.
Make an Arcana check.
It's fine.
No, make an Arcana check.
All right.
Yeah, there's nothing magical about it.
All right.
Don't you have Arcana trained?
I do. That was just a bad roll.
Oh, that's expertise. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so nothing strange about it. You guys move towards the water, but as you do, Delirious kind of stays back for a second and waits for you guys to kind of get into the water. And she says, "Our trip here, your speed won't do. There's no way we'll make it in time, especially with your delay. Please hurry up and get into the water. And Malik, take your true form."
All right. What I will do then is jump up in the air and transform tail. And yep, real majestic like.
The gift of the trackless. He has a flipper, and he goes on swimming into the water. And as you two kind of enter into the water, she looks at you, and her tail kind of extends. Her head tail extends up over her head and emanates with light. And as she's doing that, she starts speaking words. In the times that you've traveled with Malik, he's never really cursed too much, but you have seen him in kind of grizzled states, especially as of late with the dreams and whatnot. And when he kind of slips into his native tongue, it sounds like what she seems to be speaking. And after she finishes a short amount of talking, she reaches her hands out to you, and blue light kind of starts glowing around your legs. You can resist this effect, or you can allow it. Arzel and Hawk.
I would allow it.
Okay.
I'm just going to go with the flow.
Your legs turn into fish legs. You have
Awesome.
your lower half is now a fish half.
I look at him and say, "Nice tail." Zell, now that you've gone, tailful, you won't be able to stop. You're just going to be like Fishman forever.
It's the best.
Exactly. We start frolicking like in, something, Little Princess, or whatever that one is.
To be short, I don't mean you have like a full on like Little Mermaid tail. I mean you have legs, but like they have the foot of them are now elongated with webbing on the toes, and
Basically, she probably used something like Alter Self on us.
Yeah. All right. Well, I was hoping for the best, You guys couldn't go full tail. You wouldn't be able to stand it.
No. I see what you did. They wouldn't be able to stand it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Exactly.
But she steps into the water, and she also takes on the gift of the trackless, and she starts swimming in the lead with her head tail emanating light over her head, and starts just swimming at a very fast pace. You kind of take a couple of seconds to get your fish legs, your sea legs. But once you do, you feel like you're kind of gliding or flying through the water. And it seems, too, Malik, and you would know that the Wayfinders kind of have a trait that enhances those that kind of move with them, but you feel like you're going faster than you normally go. And you swim. You swim for a good long time, and you feel like you've traveled a long, long way before you actually kind of get tired at all. Let me see if I can't bring up a map for you there, so we can give you an idea of where we're going. And we kind of already discussed this back in the olden times, but the city of Sorrowgate and Lament's Nose kind of sit upon a river that heads south along the side of the road. Down to the city of Dayet, and then it exits out into the Dayushan Bay. And she stated that that's basically where she wants to take you. You feel like in a day's span, maybe a day and a half, without like really resting, just kind of swimming about with some stops, but you make it out into the bay in a relatively quick time, traveling hundreds of miles in the time that it would take you walking, probably 3 or 4 days, maybe even a 6 day. But once you kind of exit out of the river way and don't see kind of the walls of the river to your sides. She kind of moves down and to what looks like a very large stone structure. And Mel, as a trackless, you would know this is a way station. The wayfinders will have points that they can kind of stop and rest. As she kind of moves closer to it, her head tail starts emanating brighter light and shining out over it, and the shadows of it kind of move and extend and like distort. Mel, you're perceptive because you've been in a trackless band before, and you know what she's doing is just she's trying to make sure that the shadows are moving naturally, and if there's anything that's moving around inside, if the shadows will change or alter because of that light. If something's kind of being, touched by that light, the shadows will move different than something just standing still. And the shadows move normal. And she kind of moves down to it, says a couple of strange words, and you see this kind of pulse from the inside of the way station up here, and it seems to kind of push out the water in a rush. And she swims to it, and you see her kind of descend into it, and it seems like she's exiting out of the water and into a space, a cavity of air inside of the water.
Very cool. I will follow her then.
Okay. The second you do, your legs kind of return, and you are sitting inside of a small little campsite. The same for you, Andy and Matt. Yep. You enter into regular air, and your legs don't change. They still have their kind of weird shape to them, and you kind of feel a little bit awkward on them in not swimming. While you have sea legs, your speed will be reduced by 10 because you're kind of walking like a clown with your floppy feet.
Lovely.
Right.
Special.
You look good.
She pulls out what looks like a wand or a rod or something, and she kind of snaps it in the middle, but it seems to still like be in one piece, just broken in the center, and tosses it into what looks like a stone ring, stone pit in the center of the chamber. And when it hits, it kind of starts emanating a light and a heat as well. It seems to kind of just very quickly be drying everything in this chamber.
Oh, very nice. So is that something that I would know from, knowing what the trackless wayfinders do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
So basically, the first thing that she did was clearing the air. She's basically creating a pocket of oxygen. It's a feature for the wayfinder, and then the stick is known as a Coira stick, and Coira sticks are basically just they're campfires inside of a stick that don't actually emanate smoke. They emanate the heat. Technically, you could burn yourself on them, but yeah, basically she set a bonfire in there without the fire.
Oh, very cool. Does it use magic or some type of chemicals?
Oh yeah, it's magical. It's actually magic that's drawn up from the roots of the earth, which are found deep in the waters.
Cool. Very cool. All right, so I guess I would also ask her, are we just stopping to rest, or is there something you need to tell us?
Just stopping to rest. We're not too far from the city. Not too far at all.
Okay, do you think you could make a short rest and just get back to it, or do you need rest for a long period of time?
We've been traveling for almost a day and a half. Are you not tired?
Oh, yes, I'm tired, but I know that we did, like you mentioned earlier, have some little side, some stuff we did on the side there, which I know delayed me getting to the council, so.
Malik, just take the rest and appreciate it.
Sure.
Zach!
What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
You sexy, you sexy.
Also, John, I just kind of want to take a look around.
Okay. Yeah, so you would actually realize that what you're inside of is not like a stone structure. It appears that the stone is actually bone. You're inside of some sort of like old living shell. The water, where the barrier kind of connects the water to the air, there's magic. The center portion, the thing that she broke, is magic. And also, like, her whole head tail is magic.
Hey, stop checking out her head tail.
Zach, real quick, all you missed is they left the library. Cardiff disappeared. She performed some ritual upon you and basically gave you fish legs so that you could swim faster than you were swimming before.
Mhm.
And you guys swam down the river to the Bay of Dayet, or the Dacian Bay. And you've just reached the mouth of that bay, basically the delta of Surrogates River. And she's set up a camp. She's cleared the air from a place and broke a weird stone, and it's creating heat. Smokeless heat. That's all that's happened.
Yep. So you guys have fish sticks now.
Mhm.
I said you guys all have fish sticks. Fish sticks. Yeah. Can you guys hear me? I'm having I'm having a hard time hearing John every once in a while. Your audio is cutting in and out. I don't know if it's on
Is
my
it?
side or your side.
Is everybody else hearing it
I think
okay?
it's on your side.
It's fine.
All right, that's fine. I'll just because like a while back you cut out for like a whole like minute, almost just a little bit ago. Must be on my side, maybe. I'll just check my connections there. All right,
Okay.
sorry.
No
Go
problem. Yeah, she doesn't seem to be. She's tired, so she's gonna want to rest. Yeah. She doesn't start speaking. She's speaking in common as she has so far.
Okay, yeah, that's just tonight if she does at any point.
Sure. Yeah, but her head tail seems to glow with magic. Other than that, the only other magic traces that you're kind of seeing or things that you're noticing here are the bubble and the stick. For everybody else, the bubble kind of looks like the movie Abyss. If you've seen it, it's basically just a border of water that's kind of cut off there. All right.
Very cool.
So yeah, you guys have been traveling for a day and a half or so. You are pretty tired. Do you want to set up watches, or?
Can we ask whether or not this is a dangerous sort of situation?
The Bay of Dayet has a few safe places. Way stations have been attacked in the past, but I don't believe Kellic travels this far inland. Mel, Kellic is a word you haven't heard in a long time, but Kellic is the merfolk word for kraken.
Oh shit! You don't want to mess with the Kraken.
Maybe we should take watch then.
Yeah, let's take watch. Well, what are we gonna rest for 8 hours? We could divide it up by 2 hours a person, I guess.
Hawk will take first watch.
All right, that's cool.
8 seconds.
I don't mind third or fourth. Either one's good with me.
Is Zach, is Boo in the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's there. Just typical NPC mode. He wasn't mentioned before, but he was totally getting the same ritual cast on him. And then he's like, hey.
Don't forget about me.
Yeah, typical.
Also, Kevin, or Zach, forget your class. Is that a
Ranger.
ranger subclass?
Fighter.
No, fighter.
Okay.
Wasn't it some sort of arcane fighter though?
Arcane Archer.
Arcane Archer.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure whether it was
It's the subclass, but it's a subclass of fighter.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was-
Not many people play Ranger.
Well, if he went ranger, then he might have access to alarm, which could make things convenient here.
That's all right. We'll just do the old-fashioned watches.
Well, as you kind of look out of the shell, it's not, you don't have like one entry point. There's several kind of openings out and around. It kind of forms more of like a gazebo kind of than like a cave. So you have plenty of points to see out. And the way it's kind of looking is if you've ever seen those Discovery Channel shows where they're like lowering a cage into the water and the light's kind of glowing out, and you can kind of see the blue and all the things that move out and about. That's basically what you're able to see out in the water. And and there are schools of fish kind of swimming about, but nothing untoward, no crazy. I guess everything here currently would be unnatural to a landlubber, but yeah, nothing that's absolutely frightening and making you crap yourself.
I just want to tell you all, I have aquaphobia.
Oh, sorry.
A little late to bring that up. But yeah, she sleeps. She zonks right the heck out. The light from the Koira stick seems to be kind of bright enough for everyone to see out as her light kind of dissipates from her head tail.
Good deal.
Hawk, you said you were on first watch.
Yep.
Okay. Do me a favor, make me a perception check.
Sure.
As you're kind of just getting your bearings in the night, kind of like, well, this is different, but you kind of engage mentally. I'm going to try and do this just how I normally do it, because it always worked in the past. I mean, I'm going to walk the circumference of the camp, occasionally look out in specific points, and you end up looking out this one exit of the camp, and you can see these lights some distance off, like some ways off in the distance. If underwater had a horizon, that's where I'd say those lights are. And you're just kind of looking at them, trying to kind of get an idea of how many or what they are. But it seems like dozens, possibly 100 or so lights just off in the distance.
How far off?
Oh, it's probably several miles yet. It's just outside. Like it's very hard for you to discern how many lights there are. It's well off.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna, I guess, keep close eye on that, and if it feels like they're getting closer, I'm gonna wake up Malik.
Okay. Yeah, after you kind of keep your eye on them, not foregoing any other points of egress, but you notice that they aren't moving. They seem to be stationary.
Okay. And when we switch watches and it's Malik's turn, I would definitely point that out to him.
I'm actually second.
Oh, okay,
watch.
then sorry, Zel. Yeah.
Yep, Zelbor, you wake up and you see that there are lights out there. You don't know exactly what that means. It seems to be kind of in the direction that you were heading yesterday before you stopped for camp, so make what assumptions you want off of that.
The Kraken, guys.
Make a perception check for me.
I don't think I have that trained. Nope, do not have perception trained.
Good old untrained wisdom, please. Thank you. All right, pretty good. As you're kind of, walking around, keeping an eye on the camp, you can see that Boo is kind of exiting out of his trance, because Boo's an elf, and would probably only be resting for, one watch anyways. He's exiting out of his trance, but as he's doing so, you notice that there's something kind of hanging out on his cloak. It seems to be under his cloak or in the folds of his cloak. You're not sure what it is, but there's just a little bit of movement in his attire that's not him.
He got water leeches.
Ha.
Aqua leeches.
I cast Fireball!
Right on his back.
Hey, Boo. You something? Your shirt?
What about me? I'm sorry.
So you awaken from your trance.
Yes.
Just feeling a lot better, as I'm sure you probably do right now. And he says,
much better.
probably not better than you do in real life. But
Right.
he walks over to you and he says, "There's something in your shirt," and kind of gestures towards where your cloak kind of meets your shirt.
Okay, is there actually something in my shirt?
If you start inspecting, you kind of pull out this kind of water-covered worm.
Ew.
Did it
Who got worms?
do anything to me?
No, it just seems to be stuck in the folds of your cloak.
Alright, well. Boo will just kind of move it off of him and drop it somewhere next to him and thank Zelbor for mentioning.
as it kind of hits the ground, you can see that it kind of starts to ooze like this weird blackness and kind of stick to the ground and kind of like move up, and it's got a kind of sludge like it seems to be stuck to the ground, and then it starts talking, and both of you hear it, and it says, "You cracked my mask."
I'm gonna smile at the little worm, and yeah, I did. Sorry about that. You were abducting a child.
It just seems to kind of like wriggle a bit, and then it kind of just falls still. Like it kind of like it almost looks like it death throes, and then it just kind of dies. The single worm.
It seems dead.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be sure, I'm just
Snap, fire.
Did it look like the same worms that came out of the mask face thing?
Yeah, kind of a brightish green coloration. Yeah.
Cool. I just wanted to make sure it didn't like look differently, so we need to be more worried about other types of worms.
No, you don't know when it would have got on you, but there were definitely moments in that engagement that it could have.
Oh yeah.
cool.
Alrighty then.
Yeah. Anything else eventful happened during?
No. Who do you wake up for the third watch? Boo's already up if he wants to take it.
Yeah, you okay with that?
That's fine.
Yep.
There are lights out there. Just keep an eye on them. They're not moving as far as we can.
Yeah, and I would make special note to make sure nothing changes, even if it's just like brighter or dimmer. I want to take note of those lights while I'm on observation.
Make a perception check.
Yeah.
You keen-eyed mofo.
Woof.
Yeah. Well, you see what they see. Lights off in the distance, stationary, not moving.
Yeah.
Not too much more than that. And for the remainder of your watch, you notice that there are a lot of schools of fish that have started kind of encircling your camp. They're very dark-looking fish. If you'd like to make a nature check to see if you can't figure out what they are, you can. But there's a lot of these dark fish, like a very large school of these dark fish just swarming around your encampment. They seem to be drawn in by the light.
Yeah, I'm not going to make the check. Boo probably wouldn't know one way or the other.
Okay.
The fish of evil.
All right. And eventually, again, you're not past the midnight zone, so you can see the sun kind of, coming through the water above. And the schools of fish don't seem to be breaking, but they do kind of keep away from the top of it. They seem to be forming a ring around the camp.
Word. Is it like a tight ring so we can't like get the fuck away from here, or are they just like keeping tabs so they know which way we go from here?
You can't be sure whether or not they're going to hinder your movement through them. I mean, there are a lot of them.
Enough of them to hinder our movement should they make that choice? You
don't think so. There's enough of them to block your sight, so you can't really see beyond the ring. And as the sun kind of comes up, you see something kind of break from the ring and kind of move into the space between the ring and the air bubble. It appears to be a merfolk, long merfolk tail. He's wearing very ornate-looking armor that seems to be made out of scale and bone. He has a very massive trident and a huge helm that seems to be fashioned with an almost dolphin-like pattern. And he kind of just floats out in between the anchovy and the bubble. You can see him, Boo, and no one else besides you is awake.
Was there anything magical to the way he just did that?
The fish seem to be under his control.
Okay. Then I suppose I'll knock an arrow, but I'm not going to aim it.
He kind of raises his hand up in like a gesture of peace. He's still
I
holding.
will relax
still-
tension on the bow, but I've still got the arrow knocked, and I'll approach him so we
Sure.
can have a quieter conversation.
He's still holding a trident, but it doesn't look like he's doing so martially. It's a big enough trident. It doesn't look like he has anywhere else to put it. You know what I mean? But
He's holding it like anyone holds a staff because
Right.
it's a big store.
as he kind of descends down towards the wall of water, his legs change into normal feet, much like Mel can do, and he kind of steps into the air bubble. He looks over to the girl, Delirious, and then kind of looks to you, and in Elvish, he says, "You are being brought here by the Wayfinder. We only expected her to return with one."
It's a 4-for-1 deal.
It seems she has granted the gift of trackless upon you, so then I have no argument with you. But you do understand that there was very dire movement here last night.
How so?
There seems to be a strange aura of magic here at this way station. It came about as night fell, and we were sent to investigate it.
We?
We. And as he says that, he kind of taps the butt end of the trident down, and the anchovies kind of just fly away. And you can see that the place is surrounded by 9 guys just like him.
Cool.
No look of surprise, just
Yeah, like when that happens, Boo, it doesn't get like more tense. He almost just smiles at it, like, fuck yeah, we're gonna do this.
Well, we have a guard.
he says to you, if you need time to ready yourself for the last leg of the journey, do so. Is the Wayfinder all right?
I believe so. She went to bed perfectly fine.
She seems to still be sleeping.
Yeah, and I would just gesture to her so he can see her passed out on the ground.
He says, I will wait for her to rise. And he drops to his knees and sets the trident out in front of him, horizontally in front of him, and kind of just sits there in a kneeling position, waiting. You guys start to wake up. You would notice that as you kind of look up and kind of just take in the surroundings, you would see that there are a total of 9 trackless merfolk outside in bone and scale armor with very massive tridents. And as you kind of wake up, Mel, you would notice that these are the Cardinals who protect the city.
They're cardinals?
Cardinals.
Oh, I thought you said cardinals. All right, that makes sense.
More sense than a bird, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It wouldn't the reference wouldn't make sense to somebody who lives underwater all the time, right?
She eventually awakens, but she looks very tired, very just worn out. Yeah. And he kind of waits for her to kind of gather herself. Mel, are you wanting to interject with any of these people?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I was asleep during most of that awesome stuff, but I guess I would wake up and then say, I would say it's Delarious, right? Or is it Delarious or Delarious?
However,
All right.
Just not hilarious.
Yeah, Delarious. Are you okay? Have you been rested up?
I should be fine. And if they are here to help us, then we should be all right making it to the city.
Excellent. And then I would, introduce myself to whoever the guard was, whoever the Cardinal was. I guess that was a leader. Would I know that they normally go into like squads of 10 or something?
10 is the normal number.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess I would say, hello, I am
And
I'm
before you say
Malik
your name-
and all
before
that.
you say your name, he says, Malik,
Okay.
the Wanderer, the Lost
Yes.
One. We know you well.
Okay. I appreciate that you and your guards have met us at this point to escort us to the to the final meeting place. I'm meeting with the council, right?
The Seers, correct.
Sorry. All right.
They're the ones who called for you to be returned to us. The Wayfinder was dispatched to bring you here. We will make sure that you make it to the city. And these who are accompanying you, I am certain that you will put up a protestation if we tell them that they cannot come into the city.
Yes, I would. They are close
The Wayfinder kind of
companions.
raises her hand to him as well, too, and says, they can enter the city. They can enter the city. The gift of Nermod is upon them. And he kind of nods his head. Very well. Ready yourselves. And he steps back into the water and
All right.
gains fish legs and starts gathering up his 10.
All right. Sweet. Good deal, guys. We got the honor guard.
That is a good thing.
Yes, absolutely. They decided not to kill you, so... No, I'm just kidding. Be at ease. You have nothing to fear.
Yeah. As you guys kind of gather yourselves, get back into the water, and start following after them, they seem to take pace, and the Wayfinder seems to be kind of moving a bit slower than she was yesterday. Delirious actually gets to a point where she kind of slows down and goes to a stop, and a couple of the Cardinals move to basically take her along and basically carry her along.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Eventually, you get to a point where you can actually see the lights kind of closing in and becoming more than just lights. And from what you can tell, the lights are all throughout these stoneworks and strange sculptures in the stone. There seem to be pockets of oxygen, much like the pocket that you were in before, but because of the way that the light kind of emanates out of them, it almost makes them look like these suds of these bubbly like suds all about the city. And you see there's no real entrance to the cityway because those who can swim can kind of enter it at any point. So it seems that each building has different like orifices set on the top, set underneath, set on the sides. There's, to your knowledge, architecturally, there's no rhyme or reason as to how these go. But Malik, you understand like why they're fashioned this way. If you're going to enter into a place, you must be able to exit out for certain reasons. Every single point, if you look out of it, will lead to another destination. So if you're inside of a building and you look out of a hole, you're going to see the whole of another building just along the way. Everything is like dots. Everything connects. And it seems that they're leading you towards kind of the central hub of the city, a very large just spire kind of growing up out of the central point of the city. And it looks like this point has a number of different openings along its base, kind of connecting it to the hub outside, but all along the spire, all the way to its top, there are no other points of egress, and they seem to be leading you down to the base of it.
All right. Sounds good.
You would know that this is known as the Tower of the Seers, and you've never been inside, so being allowed in is kind of a grace to you. The Cardinals kind of stop outside of the tower. The Wayfinder kind of does as well, and she gestures for you. I have done my duty as has been demanded of me. I leave you to this point. And she kind of is floating there, but she seems to be sinking a bit in the water, kind of lowering herself down to the stone. And she looks at you, and you can see her light's kind of gone dim as well.
Wow, is she just passed out from exhaustion, or is she
Make a religion check.
All right, I will do that. Hang on one second. Religion check. All right, let's do this.
Yeah.
Killed
So the you would know that the Wayfinders, when they use their ability to kind of move people through the water faster, it can be very taxing for them. The reason why is what they're doing is they're drawing on the spirits of Nermod's Cardinals, the Cardinals of the goddess Nermod, and they kind of will push her harder than a mortal should be pushed.
Okay.
Everyone with her to move fast as well. she's very, very fatigued, and the Cardinals are actually kind of waiting for you guys to enter in. But it does look like the lead one is ready to take her and lead her in, or lead her away to somewhere to be arrested.
Okay. All right. Thanks again. And may you get a good rest. And hopefully I see you later. So let's go, guys.
When you guys enter into the tower, there's really nothing in the tower. It's basically entirely gutted all the way up through the core of it, except at the very top you see a total of 7 lights. And you see 7 figures kind of emanating those 7 lights down at you. There are 7 floating figures with very long, just dangling tentacles. I guess the best way I can kind of describe it is you're kind of looking at these humanoid forms kind of looking down at you, and it seems that their cloaks or attires seem to be like man-o-wars, just jellyfish man-o-wars dropping down below. It seems like you could kind of float up a bit or swim up a bit to kind of look up at them a bit easier, or stay down at the base as you like, but it seems that if you kind of extend too close to them, you might kind of get caught up in their strings.
I've seen enough anime to know how that ends.
Enough anime equals 1 anime. No.
Okay, so would I know like what we're expected to do, or would I have heard any stories about like are you supposed to go up to them and do something like bow, or would I know you're just supposed to stand down there and talk to them, or would I have heard anything?
Make an intelligence history check, because it has been a while since you've been in the merfolk culture, and this is technically not trackless. I mean, not all trackless typically go from point to point. The seers are actually a different variety of different variety of merfolk. That said, with your check, pretty decent. You would know that there's no formalities. The only thing that's important is the conversation.
Then I would say, pardon all the time it took me to get here, but I'm here finally.
You kind of have this moment where you're about to speak in the tongue of the merfolk, which is able to pass through the water, but you feel like the water is different, and so like the necessity for you to speak in that language underwater, it's kind of like clicks and vibrations. But as you're kind of trying to do it and make the water function that way, the water doesn't seem to be operating like you expect it to. What I mean to say is you're currently muted from being able to speak the tongue of merfolk, because the tongue of merfolk requires there to be water. There's water, but it doesn't seem to be functioning as it should be. Everybody else, you had a moment where you guys were breathing like you were water breathing, right? And that was a different feeling. Now that you're inside of this tower, you're still in liquid, but you seem to be breathing as if you would be breathing oxygen.
Very weird. So I'm not the smartest guy, but can I figure out how I'm supposed to communicate? Is it some type of telepathy?
You can hear yourself breathing. This place seems to have kind of like a echo to it. A very the acoustics in this place are amazing.
Oh, okay. So I could just speak normally and.
Correct.
All right. Well, then I guess I would change the way I'm trying to speak, and then basically just say, I am Malik, and I know that you have summoned me. I am sorry that I was not able to get here quicker, but please let me know what you need, and I will do my best. And these are my friends, by the way.
In unison, the seers say, "We know your name. We know why you are delayed. We understand what the purpose is for you to be here. You have the Orb of Devanre?"
I do. The blue orb? Sure. Would I feel like I wanted to give it up, or you know what I mean? I thought at one point I was attracted to it, so I didn't want to.
Oh, it's yours. It's still yours.
Oh, okay. I bring it out and show it to him. You know.
And you hear these kind of whispers up above you. These kind of whispers, and the jellies kind of start moving a bit and changing colors. Another thing to note is the bard is actually like, you're probably having this weird existential moment right now. Like, what is the meaning of life? And I'm going to explain why. So you've played musical instruments, and you've been in some venues, like you've sung songs, you've told tales, and it's always sounded just great. Wonderful, fine. You've made it You've made it sound real good. Malik just sounded like he was auto-tuned. Like, he sounded perfect. Like, Malik's typically sounds like, Raymond from Everybody Loves Raymond, which is very kind of... when he started speaking and saying, I am Malik, and it sounded like this baritone kind of just beautiful voice coming out of him, and you're like, wait, what the hell is happening? And then when they replied, it sounded like this opera just, back down at him, and he was like... So everyone else is kind of like, the acoustics are weird, but I guess it's normal. And then Zell's like, I want to sing right here. Like, this place, it seems that the audio in this tube is perfect.
I'm just going to very calmly, not trying to bring any attention to myself, slowly rotate my lute around. So I can... and start just playing a very quiet little tune to myself.
Despite the attempt to remain quiet, you hear it strum, and it's kind of like gold just like dripping out of the strings. It sounds flawless. And Boo, you're kind of like, oh, because you also play the instruments. And you're just like, oh, like your ears are like, ding!
How it should have sounded all those other times. Like, this is what I've been missing. Didn't know what sound was.
For everyone.
The seers up above, like I said, their jelly parts or cloaks or whatever seem to be kind of like scintillating with color, and they finally kind of settle on this bluish color. And you would know that the language of the seers is a very strange language. So you've heard them speaking, but it sounded like they were kind of just putting notes to one another, and the colors seemed to be kind of emitting a message as well. It seems that it's a very multifaceted dialogue that they're having. And eventually they finally come to a point and they look down to you, and in unison, basically in an operatic tone, they say, "It was you that was cursed. It was you that was set to take up this burden. What know you? What know you of your blood?"
Well, I know that me and my companions inadvertently set forth who would be the worm guy? What's his name? There's I'm not asking this in character. What was his name now?
Shame of Albacorus.
Exactly. The shame of Albacorus, and I know eventually we're going to have to do something to stop it.
No, I asked you, what do you know of your blood? What do you know of your lineage? What do you know of your connection to Tovesh Nernon?
I guess I was told I'm related, but,
Oh, sorry, real quick. Andy and Zach, both of you, I need you guys to make me a willpower save.
What does that mean?
Wisdom saving throw. Wisdom saving throw. Willpower save. Man, I'm old school.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what that means. I think I failed it.
Boo, as he says the name Tovesh Nernon, like, you've heard it a couple of times already in the past, but it's never really kind of elicited a reaction from you. But as he says it in this perfect fashion and enunciates the name perfectly, it's said as it's meant to be spoken. You kind of feel this just tinge in your ear, and you kind of like hold your head for a second as it kind of resonates inside of you. Just the utterance of the name seems to offend your elvish blood. And Hawk, not so terribly set in your elvish blood, as it's a bit new to you, you actually feel pain just rack over your body, and just you feel like, as you kind of start sinking down, and you are basically paralyzed with agony.
Do I notice anything happening with the sword? With my sword?
Oh, yeah, she's screaming in your head.
Yeah.
And saying anything in particular, or just sort of screaming?
Just sounds like just a woman screaming in your head.
That can't be good.
But your misery has a sweet background to it, though.
Yeah, Zell is enjoying my pain.
If he had a keyboard, it'd be perfect. He'd just play you off.
Walk it off, Hawk.
Oh man.
They ask you your question. You kind of look over at Hawk and Boo, who kind of have a momentary reaction. Hawk seems to be taking a little bit more, taking a bit more pain to it. But what would you like to respond to them, Mel?
I guess I would respond that I know of the curse of Toveshnernon, but I'm confused as what it means to me, and I've been told about my lineage, I think, but it didn't really sink in. I'm not sure. I need guidance from you, oh seers.
If what we see is truthful, you are the descendant of the Cursed One. Your blood has his blood, directly from the line of his son, Duvonre. You are cursed.
Bad luck, Mel.
That's not good. All right, what can I do to help, or to maybe break the curse or lift the curse?
It would seem that you are fated to take up this orb. You are fated to free the shame. You are fated to travel with these others who are also cursed.
Oh no.
Oh. At least if I feel better now that my friends are cursed with me.
This one's curse has been identified, and he points. That one of them points to Zelvor, and only his voice speaks out, and he says, "This one is the child of Sinduscray's descendants." The orb's still oscillating in the water. You're like, I've gotten used to that. I had gotten used to that. I hadn't even thought about it. But yeah, it's just propellers around your head.
Hey, can we please learn a way to get rid of this, Albacorus, this dread being that I inadvertently released onto the world and is now destroying the city of... Was he destroying Sorrowgate, or was it a different city?
No, Sorrowgate.
It was Sorrowgate,
I care nothing for the world above. And I'm sorry, we care nothing for the world above.
Yeah, I do, though.
John, I just want to test something and just.
Are you going to play a song for us now?
No, I am going to just mutter something under my breath and see if this actually casts.
Yep.
Good to know.
Oh, all right. What are you going to do?
In fact, it seems empowered.
Ooh.
Interesting.
It became a Bigby's hand.
No, but you're pretty sure that you could probably lift more than 10 pounds, a lot more than 10 pounds with this hand.
Like a person who's in agony and sinking?
You also feel that you could move it farther than it's 30 feet, and you also feel like it'll last longer than a minute.
Wow, see, it's better when it's wetter. Exactly.
All right, now do it up the octave like they do on Broadway.
You can do it.
I don't sing good. But yeah, it seems that you want to roll an Arcana check for me, Zelvor.
It seems like I do.
You would be able to identify it regardless. Feel that you are in basically what's known as or Bard Zone. Basically, when Bard.
Breaking up.
Oh, can you hear me okay now?
Sort of.
Is it robot?
That's better now. Yeah, it's not robot anymore.
Not robot anymore? Okay.
No.
So you are in what's known as a Scald Zone or a Bardic Zone. Basically, these were magics from a long time ago that are created to basically amplify the spells of bards and the songs of bards.
In that case...
What are you gonna do?
Sure. As you cast that spell, you actually can see through the walls of this place, and you can see beyond, like, well beyond, like, your normal sight view. It's actually almost maddening for a second as you do it. You see them, and it seems that they are all kind of just, like, floating up there in space, but as you cast the spell and can see into, the ethereal, you see what look like hundreds of ghosts basically lining the ceiling of this tower, and kind of circling around their heads. The walls of the place, like I said, you can see through them now. It seems that it's because this place seems to exist not only in the material but also the ethereal. You also notice that the magic that's kind of lingering in this place is very potent and seems to continue upwards out of the water.
Cool. Did you say something, Kevin?
Yeah, sorry. Like all the way to the surface, right?
Or beyond, yeah.
Or beyond.
Mel, you would know that basically there are points like this that are known as siren isles, or sirens points, places where powerful, potent magic of song is used.
Oh. Okay. So, I guess obviously they're using this to gain knowledge because they are communicating, like, maybe with ghosts or something. I wouldn't know this necessarily.
You would actually already know what it is. You don't need to be able to see into the ethereal to know what's happening here. This place is known as the Hall of...
Hello?
Yeah, I can't hear him right at the moment.
John? Can't hear. I think he's fixing his cords.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Andy?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's been happening to me every once in a while, and I didn't know if it was just me or him, or or I don't know. It could be the computers too.
Test.
Yeah,
that's good.
Okay. So you would know, what was I saying?
Yeah, like how it works, how everything works.
So you would know that this place is known as the Tower of the Seers. It's not called the Tower of the Seers for those 7 people. It's called the Tower of the Seers for all of the Seers that have ever lived in this place. When they die, they don't move on to the next place. They stay here and continue to partake, or to deliver their knowledge to the Seers beyond. So a Seer doesn't need to be taught what the Seer that came before them knows, because the Seer remains.
All right. That's cool. Very cool. Too bad we don't have Cardiff here with us. He would probably... Well, he could, like, travel wherever the hell he wants, so it wouldn't be as cool. But, all right. Well, all right, I'm confused. You know who I am and, my ancestors and what I've done, but...
Why are we here?
What can we do to fix it is what I want to do.
You already know the path. You've already seen it. You have already walked it. You must now take what you have and use it to walk the path. Instead of avoiding your knowledge, you have the orb.
That's true, I do have the orb.
You must go back to the town of Hilton in the lands of Stormloft. There you will find the gate that you must enter. The gate that you avoided. When you enter into that gate, you will use the blood of Devunray to enter into that place, and you will take up one of the items that are necessary to find the sword that you seek, the sword that you all will need. You know of what I speak?
I think Hawk does.
I don't think Mel gets it totally. He's hoping that Zell does. Zell's the smart one.
I don't know why you keep assuming that.
You remember there being something about the sword kind of being able to cut. There's some. I don't know. It's been a long time, and I'd have to reflect back. But I remember a mention of how you purify it, how you purify the curse out of you.
I thought that something with purifying the curse, or well, I remember
Oh.
that you mentioned something about
Cutting it out of you.
also in his dream he heard like the singing of his people, and he thought something like that, or like something like that, had to do with it too.
Right.
I'm checking.
But yeah, do we need the gatekeeper and the keymaster?
And the wayfinder and the seer, yeah.
I was just thinking of getting Bill Murray in on this, honestly.
For sure.
I thought maybe a song would help. At one point, I have a note down here that I thought maybe a song would help with the. But I don't find anything in my notes about a sword. That was way a long time ago, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, quite some time. So,
Yeah.
you would feel that like the song portion of it's kind of coming to fruition here. It seems that song can also mean story, and it seems that they're telling you a tale here about your bloodline. And they're telling you already know the path. You already know how the story goes.
It's not that story that I had in the nightmare, is it? Where I was killing somebody, but I think that was before.
You were killing a woman and basically being blamed for it by the person who you felt actually did it.
Right. That was my backstory, right?
Yeah.
But was that what my nightmare was?
But the thing is though, you didn't kill her. Like your backstory, in your backstory, there was no "I might have done it." In your dream, you did do it.
Right. That was the bad dream. I don't know. Does anybody know exactly or remember anything of what is going on with the sword and everything? I can't remember anything back from that far ago. I didn't take the best notes at first.
Man, you're fucking asking me? Come on.
Not you. I'm asking Andy and.
Simple. We'll go ahead and get it out, just so I make sure I have it. If I didn't say it before,
You probably did.
Fine. It's fine. But here it is, and it's definitely something to take notes on and pay attention to. They tell you that the curse, as you have it, is a curse of blood, brought forth from Tovesh Nernon. And upon saying it again, both of the elves start racking in agony. Not horribly so for one of them, because he's more elf than the other. But he says, the curse of blood from Tovesh Nernon. Varhuin cursed him because of his treachery, because he would deal with those who were not clean. Tovesh Nernon's children bore the weight of that curse. The 4 children were...
Oh, yes, I remember this now, but I don't know where I have that in my notes.
I have this in my notes somewhere.
Gavilis, Devunray, Oloria, Sindiscray. And when they were cursed, they were sealed away. And the keeper of the curse, Jizix, was the one who bound them. Your descendant, or your ancestors, destroyed Jizix, destroyed the keeper, and thought they destroyed the curse, but only put it at bay. The curse rested in your bloodlines, dormant, and has been reactivated by you touching the blood of your ancestor. Now, in that story, there was mention of orbs of those individuals. And basically, one of the questions you'll probably field to the seers at this point is this the orb of Devunray? And he says, no. That is the blood of Devunray. That is nothing more than a container.
Ah. All right.
Right. So
So, what do I do with it then to get the orb?
It contains what you need to place into the door. Within the door, you will find one of the relics, one of the true keys to find your way to the sword of ultimate sorcery, which is used to burn out the curse from your blood.
Okay. Okay. All right. Very cool. That's what I need to know.
Also, what was the name of the one that I have?
Sindescrae. Cindescrae.
Gotcha.
So that would leave Gavilis and Aloria for the other two, because the seers just said that you're all cursed.
All right. Cool.
As mortals with no information from the after, I understand that you think everything is made by chance. But in sooth, fate has brought you together. You are closer related than you ever thought.
What are the odds?
Mm,
It'd have to be like someone's writing a narrative. It's not
I know, right?
That makes my bromance with Zelbor very strange now. As if he's like kind of related to me, like a brother.
Don't make it weird. Don't make it weird.
I had to make it weird. I couldn't resist.
Why'd you have to do that?
You ancient.
It's like, wait, my magic's amplified in here? Thunderwave! Big B's interposing hand! It's as big as the freaking tower. It's just like, nope. It's a whole lot of nope.
All right. So it looks like we're going to Hilton, boys.
Joy.
Seems so.
Understand that once you go there, you will seek out the cairn of Sven.
A cairn is like a tomb, right?
Correct. It's basically a big mound of rocks.
All right. All right. Sven the moose, or
Sven, the serpent.
ah. All right.
And you think back for a second, and you kind of go, "Oh!" And you remember back to the tomb of Derlithoth. You remember that there were
Sarcophagus?
four markings. There were 4 markings. There were 4 gods of the Vazriel.
Yep.
And the serpent, Sven, was the 6-headed snake.
Ah, it's all making sense now. Did you know this before, Andy? You figured it out pretty quickly, though, right?
No, not really, no.
Really?
I'm looking back to like June, my notes in June.
It's probably
Yeah.
a hodgepodge of a mess. I understand,
Yeah.
but I promise I'm trying to bring it back in, rein it back in. There's
It's-
been a lot of gaps, so it's not as fresh. And even your notes, you're kind of sitting there going,
What?
does this even mean? And you try and think back on it. I'm the same way.
Yeah, I don't even have some of my original notes.
All right.
I lost them. So.
Heck, yeah, I understand. So again, I'm trying to make sure we're getting a good direction, and I know where we're going, and I'm making it easier so we can get to the good parts. I promise, there are good parts. The seers say to you, we can offer you 2 of 3 things, and we tell you, as we offer these things to you, you must choose wisely which 2 of the 3 you select.
All right.
The first is a passage to Hilton, a means to go there quickly and hopefully unmolested.
That depends on how Malik's feeling.
Bigby's interposing.
Oh man.
No,
It was all consensual. You know, I'm not forcing Zelbor to do anything.
The second thing that we can offer you is a boon of sight to those who can bear it. And the third thing,
Sight
That
of
would-
what?
I tell you no more than that.
It's a mystery, man.
And the third thing that I can grant you is a gift of fortune, which can be most useful in the direst of times.
Wait, I guess what was?
Fortune.
So you mean more than money?
I mean luck. I mean fated luck.
Yeah, okay. I vote for passage and luck.
Well, wait a minute. Is this something that each person chooses, so we can kind of like cross? This person gets that.
You say I elect passage and luck.
No, that's what I say to the group that I want to talk it over. I'm not choosing.
Like,
Okay.
I think those are the best, also, but we don't really know what the gift. We don't know what the boon of sight does.
What are you
Mel,
saying, Sel?
Would you prefer passage in sight or luck in
Didn't say
sight?
anything yet.
Mel.
I think, well, this isn't like what I'm going to choose. I'm just talking to these guys about it. Like, we'd like huddle up and whisper. Because
Right.
we have to like get our minds together, you know?
Fair enough. But what are you leaning towards?
I would lean toward Passage to Hilton and Gift of Fortune, but I think also that Boon of Sight sounds really cool, but I don't know what it would
Hold on. Just don't let
Right.
anybody's idea influence what you're thinking. So my question to you is at what would Mel choose? Passage and fortune or passage and sight?
Well, that is a very good question. I think I'm supposed to be a really wise guy. Like, so I would probably choose what I would think would be the best, and that would probably be. Well, could I ask you one question before I choose? Would I know? Well,
No questions.
being as just as a question, like I'm checking my mind.
You are rambling really solid, and I love it. But what I need you to choose is what would
Yeah.
you choose as your? I just need that final answer. You know.
Yeah, I know.
Can I
Final
get
answer.
you and send you off? You know, so you don't get the
My
million.
friend.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to phone a friend here.
50-50. Wow.
Yeah, actually, probably what I would choose if I was thinking like, what's the wisest thing to help us?
Mhm.
Is dang, I guess I'm assuming that the curse is lifted from me when I get this sword.
You
So
were asking a lot of questions, not answering mine.
I guess what I would say would be Passage to Hilton, so I could get there quickly to get rid of the curse, and then I think my gut is Gift of Fortune.
Okay. Zach, if you had to choose between the three options that have been put to you,
Fortune.
okay. You said
You
sight,
say sight and fortune?
Fortune, yeah.
no passage. Okay.
No passage.
And Zell.
I feel like I have sight covered with true sight, so I'd go for passage and fortune.
Okay. So as you kind of are talking amongst yourselves and whispering, the seers kind of let out a booming like note, and you feel it kind of ripple throughout the water.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. As it kind of finally kind of like stops going. Hawk, it's going to be the easiest for you, but everyone else will be a bit more difficult. You have one additional lucky point to spend during your day.
All right.
Everyone else,
Luke.
you have a single lucky point that you can spend during your day.
Yay! Is this temporary or permanent thing?
Permanent.
Ooh,
Oh, that is so sweet.
we like permanence.
Yeah. Boo, as you kind of start looking at everyone, you see something very strange about them, something oddly telling, something very curious to you, but you immediately recognize what it is. Everyone in the chamber that you're looking at, that you can see, you know exactly how healthy they are. And you can also tell if they're wounded or poisoned or cursed or what have you. You have this ethereal sight to see into their health. You know that at this moment, standing before you, Hawk has no poisons, no conditions, no maladies, and has exactly 159 hit points out of 159 hit points.
He's
At
awesome.
any time during your turn, you can, as a bonus action, look at a creature and discern how many hit points, how many, et cetera, et cetera.
Fuck yeah.
The rest of you, the seers look to you and say, she will be waiting for you outside, ready to take you to the town of Hilton.
Oh man! So it's gonna be. I forgot her name already. But I got it written down.
Behind.
Delirious. It's gonna be Delirious again. She's gonna take us, the Wayfinder. Okay. You know, it would be cool if I had that gift of sight, but oh well.
You made your choices. Don't
You
look.
made your
I know, and I'm stuck with it. But that's okay. Sometimes you fail a save, and that really sucks. So
As you kind of step out into it, you do see Delirious is there with the others. It does look like she's rested a little bit as you guys have been inside the tower for a time. And she says, whenever you're ready to be sent off, we can go. I can take you up the Giant's Piss, or Giant Strength to the Piss, and then into the town of Hilton. I know the way.
all right. Are you guys ready to go?
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Okay. We do like a slow walk montage music playing in the background.
This the part
It's already playing.
me or
Yeah.
No. She seems to include you in it, like you were fine.
yeah, I know.
Okay.
Nice. You got the best of all the worlds.
I figured out what John was saying.
As you guys kind of gather together, and she kind of like starts off like she was before, this time is different. Her head tail kind of snaps forward, but starts glowing bright, and you feel this just supernatural kind of grace and wind emanate over you, and you start like thrusting through the water like you were flying even faster than you were before. The speed is unreal, but it doesn't seem you're in control of your own bodies. You're basically kind of left to her, and you're kind of set into a formation that she's decided. And everything seems to be just swelling past you. Out of the just glimmer of your eye, you see somewhere off in the distance. You don't know how far you traveled. Just moments after you started your traveling, you see this large squid-like creature that you see for a couple of seconds, just emanating off over these lights, and it seems like it's kind of just lording over an old merfolk city. You would know that it's what you fear, that it's the Kraken, but it doesn't seem to be important to you as you're zipping past it and continuing on. You move into the delta of the Giant's Drink near Seaguard, and you pass through the Dragon's Bay. You've moved hundreds and hundreds of miles in what seems like only a couple of hours. And you're moving up the river at an incredible pace. You can feel the water chilling around you as you enter into the north of the kingdom of Stormloft. And finally, just finally, everything seems to slow down, and everyone kind of like just stops in the middle of the river, kind of moving up. As this is happening, Hawk, your fish legs seem to fall away, and you're inside of a river about 10 feet deep, and you feel just a sudden weight come about you. Make me an athletics check. Strength athletics, please.
Sure.
This is where Hawk drowns.
I'd grab onto Mel. I grab you.
You start kind of like clambering into the muck and kind of pulling yourself up, and eventually you kind of make it to shore. You're pulling up on the stones, and you can see that it's like a cold morning when you arrive, and you can see the town of Hilton. You appear to be on the southern end of the town of Hilton. It looks like it's fallen.
Ooh.
It looks like it's burnt and wrecked and ravaged.
Are there any like giants around it? Like, how much
Let's
further
kill
can we
'em!
get? Did we somehow get to West Marches?
You're kind of coughing up a bit and kind of looking out at it. You're not sure what exactly you're looking at, but you're kind of, just perturbed for a second. Boo, you manage to swim out fine and see what he sees as well. Mel, you also move towards the water, but make me a perception check, Mel. And Zal, of course, you managed to make it to the shore as well.
Oh man, hang on one
You're
sec.
not wearing heavy armor. The only reason Hawk had to kind of make an athletics check is because of that armor.
That sweet plate.
Well, you kind of like pop, and you're like, "Yeah, cool, everything's fine," but you don't want to leave the water yet, and you kind of think for a second, and you want to, say thank you because that's the kind of guy you are.
Ah, right.
And you turn and you look back, and she seems to just be kind of floating up towards the surface of the river.
Uh-oh. All right, guys. I have to grab her and see, see how she's doing.
As you
Yeah,
move
check
to
up on her.
collect her, your mind just kind of goes staunch with this strange sense of deja vu. It's like the moment in your dream when you killed her, and as you kind of held her and laid her to rest in your dream, you're holding her in the river, and you're coming up out of the surface, holding her dead body, and you start to realize that the dream wasn't so much a dream of the past event.
It was a premonition or whatever. Hey, wait a minute. Is she dead less than a minute?
She feels like she's been dead for quite some time.
No!
You can attempt to cast Revivify if you'd like.
I would like to, but, if she's been dead too long, it won't work. I
You
will
don't-
attempt it.
Yeah, you don't know how long she's been dead. It definitely seems like the spell that she cast seems to have kind of distorted time, but mainly for the purposes of traveling, she was moving very fast. Go ahead and cast it.
We're guys, I'm just not going to be able to live with this. This is worse than the curse.
You cast the spell into her, and she kind of comes to. Her eyes flutter open, and she looks at you. And she says to you, "I am so weak. Help me."
Yes, of course. Guys, where can we rest? In Hilton. This place is burned out.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
I got an idea, actually.
Do you pull her out of the water?
Yeah, I'll pull her.
You start pouring potions down her throat, and Zell, make a intelligence medicine, actually a wisdom medicine check.
A wisdom medicine. Okay, so basically just
And-
wisdom.
Mel, same for you, buddy.
All right, I was about to cast a spell on her because I could do that if I needed to.
Yeah.
Let's see. Medicine check, you said? I know that's here somewhere.
Wisdom medicine.
Unfortunately, I'm not trained in that.
Okay, so just a wisdom check.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so you aren't sure what's happening, but Zell, you actually start to realize what's going on, and it seems that Revivify has kind of captured her back, but you know that it's not going to be for long because it seems that her body is actually withering away with age. The exhaustion that's entering into her is supernatural. It's actually causing her to supernaturally age.
Oh, no.
Her skin to you, Zell, as you look at her, you know when you're in the water too long and you start to prune up. Yeah, that's her whole. That's her whole body.
Oh, man. I don't know what to do, man.
Say something nice to
We
her.
honor
Yes.
you for your sacrifice.
Yes, I say thank you for all that you've done. I never would have chose this if I'd known this was going to happen.
She looks up at you and she says, "It's not like you foresaw. It's not like they foresaw. I didn't expect to live this long. I didn't expect to be able to tell you. I didn't expect to be able to tell you that we know it wasn't you. We know who it truly was.
Right.
My mother did not die at your hands, Mel."
No, only you did. I don't say that, but I'm like,
Ask whose hands before she dies.
yes, whose hands? Who killed her? Oh, I know who killed her.
Yeah, you know who killed her.
I know who
It's
killed her. It's in my backstory.
Yeah, it's that asshole. It's not
It's-
that.
Ki-
It's not that one asshole. It's the asshole. It's the other
Alright.
asshole.
It's the other asshole. It's a guy named Kivat.
Yeah.
Who's actually named after a real person, but
She
if you're watching Kivat,
boom, got him. She does eventually kind of just slip away.
yeah, this is horrible. All right.
As she's kind of falling away though, and she does pass away, the light in her head tail was still kind of emanating as she was falling away. It goes completely dark. But the rest of you see it reemerge. It looks like Malik's head tail is now glowing.
She lives in me. Well, I don't know. I carry the body out of the water over to actually. How would my folk? How would they normally bury somebody?
Right in the water. Right in the water.
All right.
Shook her back in.
Well, I would go over to Zell and say, you know what, Zell? I seem to have made a huge mistake, and the cost has been the death of the first woman I ever loved. Rayella. It's the daughter of Rayella, the first woman I ever loved, who I've killed inadvertently. So, just saying.
You would also know that you've been kind of bestowed the gift of the Wayfinder. Typically, Wayfinders will pass their gifts on upon their deaths. You can cast light on your head. You can actually once per day cast daylight from your head.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah,
You never know when you're going to need to do that.
your speed, on foot increases by 10 feet.
Oh, that's cool. Those are some good stuff.
Speed as a fish increases to 75 feet.
Whoa.
I was going to guess 100. I wasn't that far off.
For what? 100 for what? For underwater?
Yeah,
I was gonna
underwater.
guess 100.
No, 75.
75 is
Yeah.
far off.
Yeah, he's already 50, so it's just a plus
Yeah.
25 speed.
Right.
Yeah, and again, you would be marked as, like, in societal casts as a Wayfinder from this point forward.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, though. It wasn't worth killing a person over.
You didn't kill her.
Well, did I?
No. You know who did kill her? You know who did kill her? Probability. Probability, because I knew that someone was going to go, I don't want to choose passage. Let's see what happens, John Dupre. And then I was going to go, well, your choice is actually what killed her.
Yeah.
So
Welcome.
Zach did it.
Happy
Zach.
in any way that I can.
Someone was. A probability stated you guys were all going to agree on one thing and should be fine, or someone was going to dissent.
So it's Zach's fault. No, I don't know. It was just a bad choice, guys.
Yeah, you didn't talk it out too much. You guys went for what you guys were deciding. Like,
Yeah.
Well, if someone hadn't gone back and
well,
so many questions.
the way that Andy and then immediately thereafter Kevin actually phrased it, they said, "I would take," which was the wrong phrasing. It should have been, what should we take as a group?
Right.
Because it was selfishly done. Like, it was immediately, whatever your decision is going to be the decision. It doesn't matter. That's why I asked you guys, what did you want?
I thought we were discussing it to decide it as a group.
But the way you said it, though, the way that Andy said it to start it off was, I want this. It was, I want passage and fortune, not we as a group should take.
Well, but I thought I was being clear that I was starting a debate.
No, I understand. I understand.
That's all right.
No, I understand. But like for me, the mentality was it's what's in your heart was going to be what actually activated their gift, not the decision that you guys came to rationally. Anywho, you would see that the town is racked and savaged. No, you don't see any signs of hill giants or frost giants or anything like that.
All right.
Also, Kevin, I don't blame you. I blame the DM.
Always blame the DM.
No! Oh, well, you know what? I went from such a high last game of killing a dragon with 2 critical hits in a row with my trident to going to killing the love of my life. So I'm kind of going on a roller coaster.
The love of your life's daughter.
Yes,
well,
you're right.
You know what's more fun? If none of you had elected passage, she wouldn't have taken you.
Yeah, that would have been what we should have done. Oh, well.
Then there just would have been a Kraken fight next week.
Yeah. A Kraken fight, guys. That would have been cool. I think we would have got... That would have been bad, I'm sure.
No, that would have been... No.
It would have been the worst. Would have been the worst. The town of Hilton. We've been here a couple times before.
We've been here.
I don't think I need to tell you guys how it looks.
No, well, it's been a while. We're home, guys. This is where we met.
It's all screwed up, though.
I don't know about that.
This is where I met Zelbor.
Boo shakes his head. I've never been here before.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Well, we didn't meet here. We met this guy here.
Oh, you're right. You're right. We were already good pals when we came here.
Yeah.
I'm suffering from mild dementia.
I would expect nothing less.
Sometimes I put away clean dishes. Or, no, dirty dishes. See, clean dishes would be great. Dirty dishes. It's the dementia.
You guys enter into the town?
Yeah, so what do we notice about what's going on in the town? Any signs of what caused the fire?
Wait, are we
There's no
entering in stealthily at all, I'd like to suggest.
Yeah, that sounds good. Stealthily.
So I would assume Boo would scout ahead.
Fuck yeah, dude, that's what I do.
You move over to the town walls, kind of hop up onto them and look at the circumference of the town, just checking out the field. You see that the majority of the buildings in this place are pretty much decimated, in that they have been just racked down to nothing more than like their foundational structure. Other portions of the buildings, like other parts of town, are actually still kind of up and about, but it looks like they still suffered burn and smashing damage. They just structurally are more integral than the other parts. There doesn't appear to be any movement in this town other than flora, or other than just normal fauna.
So the smashing damage.
Any
Sorry.
signs that anyone has been here recently?
Doesn't seem to be the case. There does look like there's a lot of foot traffic, though, out of the south gate of the city, which is just on the same side of the river as you guys. Go ahead and make me just a good old-fashioned survival check.
Survival is wisdom.
Yeah, wisdom survival, sorry. Yep. So you would notice that the majority of the forces that kind of exited the town of the south were giants, mostly unbooted, just big footprints. But it does look like there were a number of them that were like clad in armor, wearing the kind of boots of an armored creature, but in large form. From what you can see, there is a lot of dead in the city, but it looks like their bodies have been kind of pilfered over, and things have been taken from them. From what you can tell, there are some that are still wearing the tattered ruins of tabards of the town guard of this place. So you would presume most towns in the area will wear tabards with the sigil of the baronet or whatever. Make a medicine check. With wisdom. Medicine wisdom.
Am I supposed to be seeing a different map than like?
No, it's just the big map. I haven't moved it.
Just making sure. You used an arrow before and I got confused.
There wasn't too much in the planning other than writing for this session.
That's fine.
You said medicine?
Medicine, wisdom, yeah. Okay. So you would realize that these bodies have been dead for some 3 or 4, 6 days. Whatever forces did this have since left.
Word.
Looks like the town was razed, sacked proper, and just they left.
Makes sense. I guess I can make my way back and tell the others. Unless there's anything out of the ordinary that should be noted before I leave. Anything that seems dangerous. Cool. Then yeah. I'll go get them.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, sounds good.
We're looking for the Cairn of Sven.
Right, a big pile of rocks.
So go ahead.
I was going to say, should we check to see if there's anyone still in the town alive? That might. It's the same. You like go to like
It's been 6 days with no sign of movement. If anyone was alive, they died bleeding out on the ground. Nobody
Is Crane Manor still there?
No.
Oh, such a vivid picture.
What about the landscape around Crane Manor? How does it look?
Desolate. It looks like all of the. Remember, Crane Manor had a different fate in this game than the one that you're familiar with.
I'm just trying to
okay.
figure out what's happening.
Yeah, we're just screwing with you.
It had a completely different architecture. You guys went to Crane Manor with this group, remember?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. It was totally different, though. You're right.
It
Right.
was a different ending.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So gelatinous cubes. That was a fun night. Anywho,
Yeah,
you guys,
it's always a fun night.
always. You guys would see that the keep, Hilton Keep, Haverhill Keep, has been completely reduced to rubble. There was a statue on that hill of the Saint of Ariu. It's also been laid low and broken apart. You're thinking about Cairn. There are 2 mountains flanking the city. You have the Haverhill Mine, which is kind of a low mountain, and then you have the Old Mines mountain to the north. You would know that the Haverhill mine, if you recall, didn't have much to it when you guys investigated that long time ago. You never really went into the Old Mine too deep. But yeah, then there's the hill that Haverhill Manor sits upon. But other than that, you're not sure what this cairn would be.
Yeah, that is a good point. What do you guys think? Where do you think this could be? I thought we'd gone here.
I'm sorry. Would we have a sense of like the topography? Because it says that it's a six-headed snake. Is there anything that would look like that from above?
Not particularly, no. Good thought, though. Definitely try and incorporate it in an alternate universe.
That just became a note. But anyway.
What are we looking for right now?
I mean, it wasn't for this, and I'm not going to change it now. But yeah, that's a really cool idea. I'll steal it for later.
All right.
What are we doing now?
You're looking for the Cairn of Sven. You don't know what that means. There are two mountains flanking the town. There's the Haverhill Mines, low mountain, and then there's the Old Mines mountain.
So the Old Mines has more potential from what John just said.
You haven't really been in it. And then there's also the hill that Haverhill Manor or Hilton Manor sits upon. Hilton Keep, rather.
Just as a question also, since I cast this thing in the orb, is that still going on, or?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Hey,
What's his normal time? How long does it normally last?
Normally, I believe it's an hour.
Okay, so it's going to last for 24 hours. Because you cast it in the tube.
That was what I was hoping for.
Hey, Hawk. Weren't you a town guard here?
I was.
Do you remember any old stories about where this cairn may be? Like, could it have been under the keep? Could it have been in the Old Mines?
Yeah,
you know.
I think back.
You're a smart guy.
You don't recall any stories to that effect. You remember that they said that the Old Mine was haunted. You remember a group of adventurers called the Silverfangs. You remember Gwenvalia and her lot.
Mm-hmm.
They already kind of found like a passageway that leads from Lavestein Manor to Hilton's Manor, and you would know that there's a tube that runs, in that same. There's basically. Hold on, let me bring out the map. It's probably going to be easier with a visual aid here.
Visual aids. We're visual learners.
Hilton Town.
I hope we run across the group that did this to the city.
Me too, buddy.
Because they'll kill us all. But we'll die fighting at least.
That is an accurate statement.
I mean, you guys would die. I'd flee.
Yeah, but you could take one person with you, can't you?
I could.
Technically.
Man, this bromance.
Yeah.
Good old-fashioned map of Hilton. So as you guys entered into the south side, you would note that Haverhill Mine's just across the way. But the thing that you guys recall from, remember Clackern getting horribly butchered and murdered and dying?
Yep.
Yeah.
You would know that there is a tunnel going from Clackern's Provisions underneath Hilton Keep. Right?
Right.
And it kind of goes to here. And then it goes to here.
Right. Yeah, I remember the pipe.
Did we ever go to here, though?
It also runs underneath Crane Manor. Yeah. Go to where?
I never actually went to Lavestein Manor.
No, because remember, Gwenvalia and her Silverfangs actually dealt with the J.S. Lavestein, who they called the Flesh Thief.
Oh, that's right. So, I mean, that's one possibility, but it could also be at Old Mine. It could also be at the Old Mine. I don't really know.
Well, again, you know that Lavestine Manor has been cleared. You would know that underneath Hilton, all there is a tunnel to the sewerway that leads you to either Clackern's house outside of the north side of town, or all the way down to Lavestine Manor.
Yeah. So it sounds like.
The
Yeah.
more and more we talk, the old mine sounds like it's probably the ticket.
Yeah.
I
All right.
don't know. I think
Do
there
that.
could be stuff in Lavestine Manor, like gold and other valuables.
You think the Silver Fangs left anything for you to take?
We're
They
talking
might not
about
have found
ancient
everything.
curses, and you're thinking about gold.
No. We're not looking for gold. We're looking for swords and.
Snell's looking for gold.
I'm low on funds.
Let's be real here.
Yeah.
Look, there's no other way he's going to be able to get his girlfriend back from the handsome town guardsman that she's with now if he doesn't come back with a handful of cash.
Yeah. True. That's true, man. And I don't know.
Shut up.
Do you even remember her name?
Funi.
Nice. Kanan.
No, Afuna is his girlfriend.
Did you say what? Did you say? Yeah. You said.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Gain inspiration, Zelbor.
I already have inspiration.
You can't have two.
I know.
You can let someone else who doesn't have it.
Yeah, can I give it to
Like your
Evan?
your buddy, your buddy.
You want to give it to Mel?
Yeah.
All right.
You guys are
Sweet.
cute. Good. Yeah. So you guys
we
head,
fist bump.
you head north. As you guys are kind of heading north through the town, making your way that way, you see a house that's looks like it's in decent repair, but it also looks like there's smoke coming out of the smokestack.
Where is it?
There's just a bunch of, like, as you kind of approach it, there's just a bunch of stuff out in the porch, out in the, like, the lawn in front of it. There's just a whole bunch of stuff everywhere around the house. It looks like someone has pulled together all sorts of different things, like barrels and boxes, wagons, carts, all of this stuff. Some of it's older, like it's been sitting there for a longer time. Some of it's not. It just looks like someone's been hoarding.
Scavengers.
Hmm?
Scavengers.
Scavengers, yeah.
Yeah, checking out what sort of loot is left over from the, demolished city.
Well, I mean, we can always check and see what's going on there.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't want to take a moment.
yeah. It's kind of sad to see the vultures, but realistically, how can you blame them? They're coming here trying to find whatever's left, and see if they can use it.
Right.
Who knows? You want to go, guys?
Sure.
All right.
Okay.
You could put on your old town guard, persona.
As you
Maybe
kind of start approaching the house, you can see that it seems that there's kind of the windows are barred up. It does look like whatever's inside, it doesn't seem to be moving at all.
Be very quiet.
If there's anything
We're
present,
hunting rabbits.
All right. I guess we will just go up to the door, if there's a door on the house, and knock on it
okay.
and say, hello, we mean you no harm. We just want to talk with you. We're travelers.
You hear a slightly familiar voice, but you're not sure why. Respond. Go away. It's a female voice.
A female voice. This is Malik.
A stern female voice.
A stern female voice.
Malik loves stern female voices.
No, that
Hawk, just make an intelligence check.
Oh shit.
Uh-oh. Well, you'll remember if you're good.
John,
Yeah.
does it sound like a person who used to travel with the Cardiff?
No.
Not Alina.
Hawk, you immediately recognize the voice. It's Rhea, the steward of Lord Haverhill.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I think she died in the other one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I think she was killed.
She died
Yeah,
horribly, yep.
yeah. Hey.
And then so sort of Hawk's. So the door is closed.
Mm-hmm.
Hawk will identify himself.
How does that go?
Huh.
He's not gonna do it.
I'm not going to do it now.
You don't announce yourself?
No,
He's
I
not-
mean, I
You
do.
You just don't. Okay, I gotcha. You hear
I'm-
some
I'm-
like locks and kind of like bars moving, and then eventually the door opens, and you see Rhea standing there. Her armor's kind of battered and broken. She's not wearing her pauldrons. She's got a sword in her hand. She doesn't have a shield. She's looking at you with a dirty kind of face, and her hair is just a mess. And you guys are looking at her, and even though it looks like she's trying to block the doorway, you can see behind her that there's a little girl who you would recognize as the daughter of the Lord Haverhill.
Oh, okay.
The other thing you would notice, and it would cause Zelbor to kind of just lose his actual shit, is standing behind her is a young man who should be dead. Ian Haverhill
Son of a
Oh.
ball.
stands there
How
looking
is
at
that
you,
possible?
and that's where we'll end for tonight.
What?
You bastard!
I thought that Asylus and whatchamacallit killed
I'm
him.
gonna keep it.
With a black arrow that took his soul
Yeah.
into it. That is correct.
Wait,
Maybe this is
wait,
Cardiff. Maybe Cardiff is bringing people.
I've got an idea of what's going on. John lied to us.
John lied to us. Yeah, it was all a ruse. We thought we saw him die, but he didn't. It was just somebody else, right?
I don't know. Do you want to deal with it right now? Do you want to just deal with it right now? We can deal with it right now.
Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah,
let's do it, man.
I really like cliffhangers though. They're so fun.
Yeah,
No,
cliffhangers
I
are
like
cool.
being on the hook too, but
Forget it. We'll do it. It's fine. Let's do it. So she's looking. She's looking at you. Elsa behind her. Behind Elsa is Ian. Ian, it does look like he's carrying a sword. The sword that he's carrying looks like it's very familiar to you. It looks like it was the sword that was on Anton's belt. Anton didn't use the sword. It was more just kind of familial. Anton's weapon of choice was a flail, but it looks like the boy has the father's sword.
what do I see?
You see Rhea. Behind Rhea, you see Elsa. Behind Elsa, you see Ian.
I'm talking about with the true sight. What do I?
Oh God. So yeah, you see everything that I just described. But one thing seems to be very strange about Ian in that you see this strange kind of black pulsing close to his chest.
Would True Sight allow him to see someone's soul?
Not so much his soul. There's some sort of magical
There's some
effect.
sort of mark or effect. Yeah.
Something on him or something about him around his chest area that's glowing, and it's kind of glowing black. Necromancy would be the spell that the school rather that's the magic seems to be emanating.
Hawk would pay attention to his own sword, and what can he get a sense of anything that's happening?
She's not really like informative at this point or helpful. She just seems to be kind of just quiet at this stage, just unconcerned,
Okay.
uncaring.
So
This is
could
part of her duty.
so would Zelbor think that possibly Ian Haverhill has been raised?
Again, Zelvor has his own thoughts.
Yeah, but I'm wondering that I can't actually see that.
You have no idea.
Yeah, true. I couldn't even see that.
She looks to you and she says, "What you've seen here," and she looks back over her shoulder and then looks to you. You can tell no one of this. We plan on making our move soon, but you can tell no one of this.
Who raised him?
His father.
The Red Priest.
Ah, the Red Priest.
How long ago?
Shortly after you all left.
We too have our own secret mission. We're looking for the cairn of Sven. Do you know where it is?
That's what the old Mines Mountain was called by the archaeologist Jonathan Hoppler.
Oh, we know him.
Yeah, we met
I
him.
knew it. We should go to the mansion.
But why do you return here?
Well, it's complicated.
We have to right or wrong.
Yes.
She kind of looks outside and looks around the destroyed city. Yeah, I know it's complicated, but what do you mean? Like, why are you here? Were you trying
Complicated.
to help us? You're far too late.
Yeah,
We're trying to help everyone. Hawk sort of draws his sword out of the scabbard a little bit just to sort of show her something's. Does she notice something's different about him?
She doesn't seem to catch on. She is kind of looking at you warily, though.
yeah, he doesn't look the same, but he's still the same old Hawk.
Did you not get reports in Stormloft?
We
No.
traveled far from
No.
Stormloft.
The reports
Yeah.
were sent to Duke Adalbert himself.
I've come to learn that Adalbert is not to be trusted.
Yeah, Adalbert's kind of an
He's kind of a dick.
asshole. Ooh, that's good. Adult dick.
Oh my god. If he was receiving the reports, then he must know of the fate of Ian Haverhill.
Adalbert's not to be trusted.
Yeah, he killed Ian.
Oh, I don't think that you're incorrect, but are you his men?
Adalbert's
No.
men? No, we're not.
Ian kind of says over their shoulders, and he says, "Let them in, Rhea."
Sorry,
What are you doing, Matt?
the cats are playing with a mic wire.
Rhea kind of steps aside from the door.
Well, do you guys want to go in?
Yep.
All right, I will follow them in then.
All right. You see that inside there is a pretty decently clean living space with a decent supply of rice and food. It seems that they're kind of just grilling or like boiling some sort of meal over a fire in the center of the room. Elsa kind of steps aside as Ian kind of moves towards the center of the room near the fire. Looks like he kind of warms his hand and kind of looks to you. My father trusted you while he lived. He allowed you to guard over this town and serve in its watch. Hawk, was it?
Yes.
And you say you are not a servant of the Duke?
No, we serve a greater purpose.
And you are not here for us. You did not know we were here.
That's right. And I say again, we're seeking the care.
He kind of looks at Rhea. Rhea kind of gives him a nod, like what you basically are kind of denoting from this just exchange is that he was kind of looking to her for some sort of guidance in whether or not she believed you, and her nod kind of affirmed that she does. He looks to you and he says, "Do what you must, then. Deal with what you must deal with. But if what you say is true and the Duke is not to be trusted, then our plan for escape that we mentioned when you entered is probably a trap."
Probably.
Hey, I'll talk to you guys later. I'm not going to say anything. I changed my mind. Well, I was going to say something, but it's better if I say it not in front of them, so I'll talk to you guys later
What
about
was
it.
your plan for escape?
We are
Duke Adalbert bringing you out.
to head north to the Dwarf Road, where we will meet with Duke Adalbert's men in the caves of the in the caves of the Dwarf Road, and we will head north up the Channelway to the city of Stormloft, safe under his protection.
We've traveled far, and while initially Adalbert tried to sway us to his side, we later traveled to Sorrowgate, where Adrian Dagger told us of Adalbert's deceptions.
Rhea kind of looks to you sternly and she says, "We need more than just statements, generic statements of what he is guilty of. You say that he's treacherous. Tell us what you mean."
He killed Ian. Well, he paid the assassins to kill him.
That's right.
Rhea kind of looks just really annoyed. And she's kind of looking at the ground. Ian says, "If this is true, then he is guilty of killing my father."
Good chance.
After the events of my demise, the elves made way to go and recover the Red Priest who had left the town after the events of the shackling. They found him and brought him back. When he arrived back here, he told everyone that he could bring me back from the dead. But to make the journey safe, he would require a sacrifice. My father elected to be that sacrifice.
Clever girl.
Yeah.
Shortly after his end, my mother took her own life, and the frost giant that sacked Jether, oh so long ago, came and took this town as well.
Huh.
Rhea, my sister, and I hid away underneath the keep. Although it was not my wish to do so. And Rhea kind of looks at him like a mother would look at an upstart boy. But Ian kind of just ignores it and looks back to you, and he says, if Duke Adalbert was the one responsible for the assassins, then he must pay. Go and do what you must. But I reenact your swearing of fealty to my father, unless you wish to shun that, as so many others have. Will you follow me? Will you take my orders, Hawk?
Hawk I stand by what's right. I will help you in your cause, but I also serve a greater cause.
I will tell you my plan, then. After you're done dealing with what you are doing, we will go and we will meet with the Adalbert's forces. If it is their intent to spring forth a trap, then we will destroy them. If you feel you're able to do so.
I agree that you should travel under our protection after we've finished here.
And then we will continue on to the city of Stormloft and confront Duke Adalbert to his face.
By confront to his face, I believe you shoot a fireball in it, right?
That's what's required.
I think we have bigger things to do, gentlemen. I hate to say, I'd hate to tell you to disavow your oath, but, you know, saving the world may be more important than...
That's what Hawk basically was saying. It's like, yeah, but okay.
Be careful what you promise to this guy. Is all I'm saying is, you know, you don't want to break your
I'm
promise.
not promising anything. And then we're gonna try. I'm gonna do what's right, and we're gonna try to protect him.
I think he has an idea of what he wants. You know, I mean, very specific.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Okay,
I know.
so good. Now you have the information that you wanted. Great. You know where you want to go. She told you it's the cairn. So next session that we have will just basically be the entering to that dungeon and the dealing with that dungeon. After that point, it'll be, if you survive, it should be heading north towards through the Dwarfish Road again, or the Dwarf Road again, to Stormloft. And again, if you guys aren't certain where you need to go to continue the Save the World plot, remember that most of the stuff seems to be Vazriel related, and your primary source of Vazriel knowledge is
Cardiff.
Duke Adalbert.
Hoppler.
Jonathan Hoppler.
And Jonathan Hoppler, yeah.
Or Duke Adalbert.
Gain inspiration.
No, gain a level.
Really?
Yeah, it should be 4. Or what are you
Sweet.
right now?
12 now.
12.
You'll be 13. Perfect. Exactly where I want.
No.
Gaining a level.
Lucky 13, guys.
Can we talk about
Guys.
timing? I know that, John, you said that you're kind of busy for the next few weeks, and then that takes us to the 29th. And where are we with timing?
29th or 22nd should be okay for me. The 15th won't work. I'll be in Chicago.
29th is not good for me.
Okay. 22nd?
22nd is good for me. How about you,
20
everyone else?
Matt?
Should be fine.
Kev?
Let me see. You guys are asking about which day in particular?
Friday the 22nd.
I think I'm good that day, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're
that-
good.
And then after that, it would be the new year.
Killing the stream?